Welcome to LSI training for SWAN Portal version 3. This is training module 3, where we will look at how to link sibling records. One of the most anticipated enhancements of SWAN Portal version 3 is the ability to link siblings' records in a meaningful way and enable an LSI activity to be entered simultaneously from multiple children within a sibling group, thereby reducing the time spent by the LSI paralegal entering the activity data. Some notes about the treatment of sibling records in SWAN Portal version 3. Sibling records must be linked prior to entry of LSI activities. To facilitate the entry of activities for a group of children, they must be linked ahead of time. Number 2, siblings can only be linked through the creation of a new Enter LSI Activities transaction. This can be done at the creation of a new child record if other siblings have previously created records, or through adding a new transaction to an existing child record. Number 3, it is recommended that all children in a sibling group have an existing record prior to creating sibling connections. Number 4, the sibling link function only affects the sibling whose record you are currently working in. At this time, the sibling link function does not work in two directions. For example, if you're in the record of sibling A and link sibling B to sibling A's record, sibling A will not automatically link to sibling B. The user would need to open the record of sibling B and create a link to sibling A. Another example would be where you have a group of 3 siblings. You would want to enter each of the 3 siblings' records individually, and then once each is created, you would go into each sibling's record and add the other 2 siblings. Number 5, sibling groups whose records were created prior to the implementation of SWAN Portal version 3 will not be automatically linked. If you have ongoing cases involving a group of siblings that you would like to link, you will have to go through the steps that we are about to detail in order to link those siblings together. Let's try an example of this together. We have a group of 3 siblings, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie Simpson. We have created records for both Bart and Lisa via an Enter LSI Activities transaction. During the creation of those records, we did not enter any info into the Siblings tab, as we knew that not all of the siblings had yet had individual records created for them. We are now creating a new child record for the 3rd and final sibling, Maggie. Since we know that records have already been created for Bart and Lisa, we will connect them to Maggie through the Siblings tab at the time of creating her initial record. We will then need to open Bart and Lisa's records to link the respective siblings to them. But first, let's address Maggie. Here we are creating a new child record for Maggie Simpson via an Enter LSI Activities transaction. We have reached the section of the entry involving siblings. We know that her 2 siblings, Bart and Lisa, already have existing records, so we will demonstrate how to link them to her record now. We will click the green Add Siblings button that we see towards the left of the screen, and this will open up a search window where we can enter the child's first and last name. See a few different records for Bart here. One tip on this screen is that by clicking the blue plus sign button to the left of the child's name, we can see the county of custody for that child. In this case, I'm looking for Bart Simpson in Delaware County. We also see the date of birth displayed from Bart's own record. So these 2 things can be helpful in making sure that you're connecting the correct child in a situation where 2 children may have same or similar names. The first option in my search results is Bart in Delaware County, so I'm going to click the green Select button. This will fill Bart's information into fields in the sibling screen. His name and date of birth and gender are automatically filled from his own record. What we will need to detail is what the relationship to Maggie is and check a box to indicate whether or not they are placed together. We have options for brother, sister, stepbrother or sister, and half-brother or sister, and also an unknown option. In this case, Bart is Maggie's brother, and we're going to say that they are placed together. At this point, if Bart is the only sibling, I would click the next button to move to the review screen. But since we know that we have another sibling, Lisa, who we have to add, we're going to again click the green plus sign button. This will again open up our search menu and we can search for Lisa. I'd like to make note before moving forward that there is an Add Sibling button at the top of this menu. The intention was for this button to be used to create sibling records at this point where one does not yet exist. However, this button should not be used to add siblings or create new child records at this time. Utilizing this function will create a sort of false record in the portal and will result in LSI activities assigned to child records that do not exist. This will create a discrepancy in data collection and will require multiple steps to resolve. It is hoped that this will be addressed and that this may be a usable function in the future. In our search results, the first record we see is Elisa Simpson, and if I click the blue plus sign button, I see that she is also in Delaware County, which is our county of custody. So I will click the green select button, and Lisa will be added to our siblings list with her information pre-filled in the siblings screen. And again, the gender, date of birth are pulled over from her record, but we do have to identify the relationship. In this case, she is Maggie's sister. And again, we will check the box next to her name, indicating that these children are all placed together. From here, I will click the next button, which takes us to our review screen. And we can see all of the information that has previously been entered, including Bart and Lisa's info under the sibling section. And we will hit next to submit this transaction. As we saw in our previous training module, this takes us automatically to the LSI activity screen in Maggie's record. If we want to confirm that our siblings are added, we can go to the child record overview screen by clicking the child record hyperlink next to Maggie's name. In our child info panel, if we scroll down next to the word siblings, we will see a blue hyperlink indicating that there are 2 siblings linked to Maggie's record. By clicking that hyperlink, we will be shown a list of all the siblings that have been linked, in this case, Lisa and Bart. Clicking on either Lisa or Bart's hyperlinked last name from this screen will take us to the child record overview screen for their records. Since we know that we have to go into each of their records to add the other 2 siblings, let's do that now. We'll start with Lisa by clicking on her hyperlinked last name. Here we are in Lisa Simpson's child record overview screen, and if we scroll down in the child info section, we will see that under siblings, there is no hyperlink like we saw for Maggie. This tells us that Bart and Maggie have not yet been linked to Lisa's record. So let's do that now. We're going to do that by creating a new Enter LSI Activities transaction. We will do this from this screen by clicking the Start Transaction /Form button and choosing Enter LSI Activities. This takes us back to our initial data entry page that we would use to create a new record. We know if the only thing we were doing is adding siblings and do not need to update or change any of the information in any of the other sections, we can skip directly to the siblings section by clicking the Siblings tab. Here we see that there are no siblings currently added, and we can move ahead with adding Bart and Maggie, just as we added Lisa and Bart to Maggie's record. Again, we will click the green plus sign button, which will open our search window. We'll start with Bart. And again, since we have multiple Bart Simpsons, we want to make sure this is the child in Delaware County, which is the first one on our list. We can check that again by clicking the blue plus sign button. So we will select Bart, His date of birth and gender are pre-filled, and we will note that he is Lisa's brother, and they are placed together. From here, we have to add Maggie, our additional sibling. So we will again click on the green plus sign to open our search window so we can find Maggie. We only see one Maggie Simpson, but just to double check, I'm going to click on our blue plus sign button, and we can see that the agency is Delaware County Children and Youth Services. So that is our correct child, and we will click select, add Maggie to our list, notate that she is Lisa's sister, and again, they are placed together. From here, we will click next to get to the review screen. We see Bart and Maggie added. And again, a reminder that until we click next from the review screen, our transaction has not been saved and submitted. This takes us to the Enter LSI Activities page for Lisa, but I want to look at her child record overview page. So I'll click on Child Record next to Lisa's name. From here, if I scroll down, I can see under Child Info that in the Siblings section, there is a hyperlink for 2 siblings. And if I click on that, I will indeed see Maggie and Bart. So we've added Bart and Lisa to Maggie. We've added Maggie and Bart to Lisa's record. Now we have to add Lisa and Maggie to Bart's record. So let's click on Bart's hyperlinked last name. From Bart's child record overview screen, we can confirm that siblings have not been linked by scrolling down in the child info section. Next to the word siblings, there is no blue hyperlink, so we need to connect Maggie and Lisa's records to Bart's. We will follow the steps that we previously saw by clicking the Start Transaction Form button in order to create a new Enter LSI Activities transaction. Once we are in the transaction screen, we can skip directly to the siblings section. And as we've already seen, click the green plus sign Add Sibling button. We will search for Lisa first. We can confirm that she's in Delaware County and click the green Select button. And then we will just have to indicate the relationship. Lisa, of course, is Bart's sister. And for our example, as we've already seen, they are placed together. And then to add Maggie, we will again hit the green Add Sibling button and follow the same steps. From here, we can click Next or jump to the review screen. In our review screen, again, we can see all of the information that has previously been entered in all the different sections. And as we scroll down to the sibling section, we will see that Lisa and Maggie's information is now there. A reminder, again, the transaction is not submitted and will not be saved until we hit Next from the review screen. Once that is done, we are taken to the LSI Activities screen in Bart's record. But to see his child record overview, we will simply click the child record hyperlink next to Bart's name. This takes us back to Bart's child record overview screen, and this time scrolling down, we do see that there is a blue siblings hyperlink. And if we click on it, we can see Lisa and Maggie are now connected to Bart. Let's talk briefly about entering LSI activities that apply to multiple children within a sibling group. LSI activity entry will be covered more comprehensively in Training Module 4, but I do want to briefly address the function of entering activities for multiple children within the sibling group. From the Child Record Overview screen, we go to the Activity window and can click the blue hyperlink that is simply labeled LSI Activities. This takes us to Bart's LSI Activities page. There is nothing in our list because no activities have yet been entered. To create an activity, in the top right corner, we will click the Create New LSI Activity button, which provides us with options for the different LSI activity categories. For the purposes of this example, let's do a juvenile court activity. The first thing we notice is that at the top of the screen, Lisa and Maggie are listed as siblings, and there are check boxes next to their names. It really is as simple as checking the boxes for all of the children to whom the activity that you are entering applies. Let's say that there was recently a dependency court hearing, maybe on July 25th. And we attended the hearing to support the solicitor, and perhaps we also attended the hearing to provide CPCMS support. After we enter the details of our activity, including the date, we make sure that the boxes are checked for all the children to whom it applies, and click Save. This takes us back to BART's LSI activities page, and we can see our activity on July 25th, attended hearing to support solicitor, and attended hearing to provide CPCMS support. Let's double check that this activity was also entered for Maggie and Lisa. The quickest way to do that is to go to the Child Record Overview screen and the Siblings hyperlink. We could also go to Child Search and search for either Maggie or Lisa. Let's jump to Maggie's record and her LSI activities page, and we can see July 25th is the activity date and the two activities related to our attending the court hearing. Just to be thorough, let's double check Lisa. Now we're in Lisa's child record overview, and we will go to her LSI activities page. And we can see that, again, the activity dated July 25th has been entered, two activities regarding our court hearing attendance. Now, of course, you do not always need to jump back and check the other records. I'm merely doing that here to demonstrate that those activities have been entered in all three of the children's records. Now, there may be instances where an activity does not apply to all of the children within the sibling group. For example, a diligent search may be performed for an individual who is the father of some, but not all of the children. When that is the case, simply check the box for the children to whom it does apply. Perhaps I'm performing a diligent search regarding a parent of Lisa and Maggie, but it does not apply to Bart. In that case, since I'm already in Lisa's record, I know the activity will apply to her, and I will simply check the box next to Maggie, but not Bart. I will then enter the details of my activity and click Save when done. It should also be noted that the activity being entered will automatically be applied to the child whose record the user is working from. So, for example, if this diligent search applied to Bart and Maggie, but not Lisa, I would want to get out of Lisa's record and add that activity via either Bart or Maggie's child record. LSI activity entry will be covered in much greater detail in Training Module 4.